Do you think you're drowning trying to do all of the things that you need to do as a business owner to keep your business afloat? Client tasks aside, I understand marketing in itself is an overwhelming part of having a business. And being a solopreneur, marketing is something that you cannot just put off for another time, because if you have not already experienced this, when you don't market, you don't have enough client work and you don't have a thriving business. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can reduce this cycle of famine and feast and have a thriving business throughout without spending most of your time marketing or without compromising on the amount of time you give to your client work because of marketing. The reason I call this presentation as double your qualified leads is because having just leads come to you is not going to help you save your time on your marketing. However, having qualified leads, people who are primed and ready to buy from you, or at least who are halfway through, would make the most of your time when you give it to them during the discovery calls. In case we haven't met, I'm Seema Pateel, a content marketing strategist who helps brand and web designers double their qualified leads each month and close sales calls without having to sell really hard. Before we double your qualified leads, let's ensure that you have the business foundations right. Foundations of a thriving business are its niche, the ideal client, and the offer you have. So, do you have a niche? If not, why do you not have one? Is there a reason you are afraid to narrow down the market that you want to serve? Or is the reason that you just enjoy working with a lot of people and you don't see the need to niche? Whatever your reason may be, knowing exactly who you serve actually makes it easier to create your marketing collateral and also makes it easy to promote and know exactly where to promote all of the services that you want to provide. Niching down always doesn't mean working with a specific kind of business. It could be doing a specific kind of work only. If you consider doctors, when they specialize in parts of body. It could also mean working with a specific kind of person or business at a specific stage. So niching down doesn't have to mean you have to box yourself. It just means for the next few weeks or months, preferably, choose a specific target audience that you want to serve, that you enjoy serving the most. So the next foundational question is, who is your ideal client? As soon as you niche, your ideal client kind of becomes easy to verbalize, easy to describe. So, who is the person who you enjoy working with the most? Is it someone who has been in business for a while? Is it someone who is considering starting their own business? Is it someone who's just starting their business and has had enough struggle? When you decided to be your own boss, you got to choose who you work with. So choose wisely. Choose the person who makes you happy to work with. Choose the kind of business that makes you improve on your skills. Have client relationships that make you happy, that make you want to wake up in the morning and get to work, or want to create more promotional material so you can reach out to more of the specific kind of person who you enjoy working with most. And finally, what is your offer? Your offer doesn't have to be everything that you can possibly do. I mean, you could possibly design, you could do print, you could design websites, you could probably edit photographs, edit videos. I don't know how skilled you are, but that doesn't mean you should have offers around all of this. It's kind of too generic, and attracting an audience for all of these into one offer would be much harder. However, if you chose to just do editing videos, then I know that not everybody who has a website or who wants a website is interested in a video editor. Let your offer be something that you enjoy doing and enjoy doing endlessly. I understand you may enjoy knitting, but if you had to continuously keep knitting, do you think you would be able to do it over and over and over again for the next 3 years? If not, knitting is best to be a hobby than something that you have as an offer. So if you don't have your niche, your ideal client, and your offer very thoroughly mapped out that you can stick with for the next 6 months to a year at least, then I suggest you go back to the drawing board and figure that out, and then come back here and continue to watch this, because I'm going to make a lot more sense once you have all of these foundations actually thoroughly fleshed out. So if you're ready, let's move on to the next two important questions. Why do you want to double your qualified leads now? What's changed now that has encouraged you to work with more clients? Do you have a way of working more hours? Do you have a way of hiring people to help you manage the workload? What is it that has now prompted you to look for more leads? And how will your business change when you double the leads that you already are getting? Do you think you have the time to add more discovery calls into your schedule? Do you think you have the time to create more relevant content? Do you think you have the time to interview so that you can pass on the tasks that you don't enjoy very much and you can get it done by someone who actually is better skilled at it, or who can just save you time and help you in a way that you can add more client work to your schedule? Once you know your reasons to add more clients to your schedule, now is the time to figure out how you can do it without working yourself to the ground. The simplest way to qualify your leads even before they get on a call with you is by educating them. And that doesn't mean they have to go get a certificate. It just means that the content that you're already putting out is not just content to get engagement, because I know for a fact that a funny joke or a meme gets a lot of engagement. However, it doesn't qualify the people who are trying to look for a service provider. So to know if someone is the right fit to work with you, they don't have to always get on a call with you. They can just follow you for a short duration and they should be able to know if you can provide the service that they need. And they should also be able to tell if they are the right kind of clients that you serve. So, how do you do that? That's by educating. Another way to do this is by nurturing. Anybody who has come across you, who likes your work, and who understands that they are not the right fit for you yet, should not have to look for another service provider. You should make it easy for them to have a way to get to know you and try to understand how you work and change their expectations accordingly. What I'm not saying is that if you don't work with real estate agents, for example, then I'm not saying they change their job. However, if you do work with real estate agents and the restriction is that you work only with local people or only with female realtors, then obviously men have a way of dropping off and the non-local people have a way of dropping off and reaching out to someone that they connect with best. The rest, if they do not understand how you work, if they do not understand that just because they have a showing this weekend, you cannot give them their business cards right away, is something that they can change. They can go to Vistaprint or the local printer who they've been using for a while and give you enough time to create the business cards or business collaterals for them for the future showings. Let's delve deeper into educating. I want you to create a process for the following stages when people come across you. How do you want someone to feel when they first come across your blog post or social media content, or anyway, when they first come across you? How do you want them to feel? Do you want them to feel that you are an experienced, firm, highly qualified, high-end designer? Or do you want them to feel you're very approachable, very warm, very welcoming, very open? What kind of feelings that you want to evoke when they first read the content that they come across you, or when they watch you, if you are happy creating videos, when they watch you, if they come across your podcast, when they listen to you? What kind of a feeling do you want evoked in them so that they connect better with you? As a brand designer, I understand you know this very well. However, have you really given this thought and applied it in your own business, just like you do it for your clients? Along with that, what kind of questions would they have if they read a specific blog post of yours or a social media post of yours? What kind of information would they seek after reading or listening to you or watching your content? Do you provide a way for them to reach out to you so that they can get to know you better? These are all the things that you need to handle without feeling super obvious. The easiest way is to have a call to action at the end of each of your piece of content, encouraging them to comment, to reach out to you via DMs, to send you a message on Facebook Messenger, whatever is the most convenient way for you to keep track of all of these conversations. Just encourage them to reach out to you via that particular method. Leave your email ID. Being wary of bots on your website is a great way to encourage them to send you an email if they are interested. Having a contact page on your website is a great way to encourage them. And having the links, the right links at the end of the blog post, is a great way to encourage them. By offering freebies to delve deeper into whatever the topic was that you were talking in the blog post or the podcast is another great way and non-obvious way to encourage them to reach out to you. Do you have a process for when someone reaches out to you, whether it's by liking your content, by sending you messages, DMs, or Facebook Messenger, or emails? Do you have a way to handle each of these situations? Now, I am not encouraging you to get into people's DMs or stalk them by saying any of this. What I'm saying is, do you have a way to nurture the relationship that has been built by liking your content? That simply means when someone likes your posts or your any kind of content that you've put in, you can just go back to that profile, like some of their content, comment on their content, encourage them to start a dialogue with you. That makes it less creepy and more like you're interested in their personality and their content. So how do you plan to do that? Do you have set schedule to do this? Do you mindlessly scroll social media and not really get much done? What do you want to do? How do you want to handle this? Again, I'm not saying you should slide into the DMs asking them to join your Facebook group. That is quite rude. It's like I was just passing in front of your patio and you said, "Hey, please come join whatever cult I have." Please don't do that. That's just not a good feeling for the person on the receiving end. You should also have a process for the times when people actually explicitly talk to you via DMs, comments. So how soon do you respond to them? Is there a way to respond to them quickly, so by setting autoresponders, or do you have a response document or a bank where you have common responses that you don't have to type each time, and you can just copy paste from the document, just so you don't have to use a lot of your time and your mental space to do all of these activities? And what's your process for when someone DMs you saying they liked something that you posted? Do you, again, don't ask them to commit to something big instantly, even if it's a freebie that you're offering to them or it's a free Facebook group. Do you have a set of questions that you can ask them to get to know them? If you're an introvert like me, then having a document with these questions actually helps a lot, reduces the anxiety. I mean, I am scared to go into my DMs even if somebody else has reached out to me, because I feel lost. As soon as I see a stranger, I feel lost about what is an appropriate question and what is not. So having a Google document with these questions actually helps me create a conversation every time I have someone reach out to me. Next is, do you have a process for when someone gets on a call with you? How long these calls are? What do you talk during the calls? How do you make sure that the call doesn't just prolong? So, do you have a set process to handle this? I understand not everyone wants to be using a script, and I don't recommend using a script because it becomes very hard to have a conversational flow. However, knowing what you can say so that you're not offensive when you're trying to bring them back to the topic of conversation makes it easy and makes you less awkward when you're telling them that looks like you're digressing and this is where we are in the call and I'd like to continue. It's just so I don't run over our time and use your time in chit chat. Maybe we can schedule another call for that. Or if someone just wants to have a coffee chat, however, when they learn about you and they are interested in working with you, do you want to directly start off talking about your offer, or do you want to have another call where it is a bit more formal, where you have a set way of conducting the call? How do you want to handle all of this? Because the way you handle is going to make it easy on you, and it is going to tell you exactly how great the person on the other side is to work with or how not great they are. So, all of this was about how to educate. Now, let's move on to how to nurture the people who have already come in contact with you and who are aware of your offer, who are aware of how you work, who are aware of how you treat a client, who are aware of how much you enjoy the kind of work that you do, who are aware of the process of taking someone from stage A to stage B. Next step is to nurture the people who are interested in you but who are not the right fit right now because their business is not the right stage where they could benefit from your service, or there are budget constrictions, or whatever reason that you may have for, or they may have for identifying themselves as not the right fit. How do you plan to nurture someone who has opted into your freebie? I understand that there is a way of sending weekly newsletters, but are you sending those? And what are you sending in that? Are you just sending curated emails where you're talking about your projects, your launches, or are you creating a way for them to have a dialogue with you via email, one on one, instead of on DMs? And if they are interested in working with you, are you trying to educate them in what kind of offers do you have? So, all of this is again nurturing while educating. So, do you have a process for it? Do you have a automated email sequence? Have you started writing to them? All of this will decide how well the person gets to know you on a one on one basis. Also, what do you do with someone who's been on your email list for quite some time and who hasn't uh, engaged at all? Like, who doesn't open your emails or doesn't open frequently, who doesn't click on the links that you have sent? What is your process for that? If it's someone who hasn't engaged with you in the past 3 months, what do you want to do? How do you plan to improve the engagement? If it's someone who's not been on engaging with you for the past 6 months, do you want to clean your email list and have only the people who engage with you? What is it that you want to do with people who are already on your list but are not engaging or are not engaging in a certain way? Do you want to change your strategy for your emails just to encourage engagement? How about the people who got on a call with you, a discovery call with you, and you both figured out that now is not the right time or they are not the right fit because of whatever reasons? How do you plan to nurture that relationship? Do you want to nurture that relationship? That's a big one. Now, if it's a budget constraint and the person seems like a great fit otherwise, Do you want to have them go through a specific nurture sequence? If it's someone who is not at the right stage of business, do you want them to go through a different email nurture sequence? Please don't get scared that you have to create a very long sequence. It's just that the content for the next 3 or 4 weeks could be very specifically tailored to the person who has no budget but wants some benefit of working with a designer, even if they're not paying you. They're on your list, you're paying for the list. I understand all of the logistics, but this person could very well be a paying client, if not in the next 3 months, at least 6 months to a year. They could be a great referral. They could refer people to you. So just because they cannot be a client right away, writing them off is not the best way to double the qualified leads, because there are some things that you may be willing to do for people who cannot be your client right away. For example, running a 5-day challenge, which increases the number of people who come across you, or a summit that you are a part of, and that can help them get into a state where they can work with you. How about the people who do not show up on the call? Do you have a process to deal with that? I understand it's a big waste of time, but not always is it a conscious decision to schedule a call with someone and not show up. So, do you have a process, or do you have a way to handle these people who probably could be a good fit later? Like, this was just a bad time, and maybe you could add them to your email list with their permission, of course, or maybe you could just give them more opportunities to reschedule. Whatever works for you and for your business, have a process to deal with it. Just letting them be seems like a good idea, because of course you're offended that they wasted your time. However, do you want to really just let go of someone? If that's not you, ask them if they can get on a list so that they can benefit from the awesome resources that you send to your email list. And whenever they're ready, they're free to reach out to you for another discovery call, for whatever offer that you have at hand at that time. I know I've given you a lot of things to think about, and I hope it has not been overwhelming. That was never my intent. To make it easy for you, I have a fillable PDF down below that you can download and fill it up. And if you have any kind of questions based on whatever I've told you right now, or when you actually sit down and fill and you're feeling lost or uncertain, I encourage you to use the email that's in the fillable document and reach out to me so that I can help you get over this hurdle and actually get the opportunity to work with the clients that light you up, the kind of work that you do that lights you up. My only wish for you is to double your qualified leads and double your income by using the content that you're already creating. I hope this has been helpful. For any more questions, please send an email to hello@seemapateel.com. Bye.